He knows if you've been bad or good, so be good, for goodness sake. Today we're taking a look at the newest TMNT 4-pack from NECA Toys, and the straight-to-VHS Christmas special that inspired it, We Wish You a Turtle Christmas. You can actually watch this entire special on YouTube right now, so if you're tired of singing the same old Christmas songs, you can definitely find a brand new playlist from this tape. The style of the show definitely reminds me of Barney and Friends, where the main characters are these larger-than-life puppet things with limited movement in their mouths, with some extra little kids hanging around helping to sing the songs. The special takes us through a typical Christmas Eve for the Turtles. They started by trimming the tree, checking their list, and that's when they realized of all the things they could forget, they forgot to get a gift for Splinter. So they met up with their trash can drumming kid friends on the streets of New York City and started to solve the problem. After a quick little operatic solo from Michelangelo, the brothers magically happened to find about 100 different gifts in the last hour of shopping. From shoes to comic books to a bunch of yo-yos and narrow neckties, they found just about anything a mutated rat could ever want. Of course, they had a rap about wrapping presents, and they might have struggled trying to open up their packages with those giant mitts. But after giving their pal Splinter all 12 days of Christmas all at once, they met up with their friends and had a merry turtle Christmas after all. So this 4-pack continues with the tradition of the VHS-style boxes, and it'll look good on display all year round next to your other 3 movie 4-packs. NECA did decide to change the story just a little bit, which I think is fun. The Turtles end up in Dimension X after a gadget goes haywire, and they still don't have a present for Splinter. Instead of a song list, we get a list of accessories, and of course a shout out to all of the designers and artists that worked on the project. Opening the box is just like opening your biggest gift on Christmas morning. The figures are displayed nicely with Raphael and Michelangelo on top, Leo and Donnie on the bottom, so if you're an inbox collector, you won't be disappointed. You know I had to open them up though. In this review, I'm going to take a look at the accessories, compare them to some other TMNT lines, and most importantly, see if those hats will fit on any other characters. First accessory out of the box is this blue skateboard. The grip tape looks really realistic, and I really like the pink wheels on the bottom. They changed up the artwork, but I don't get the new reference, so let me know if you know what it is. Next up we get 4 white scarves with bendy wires inside. There's not much to them, but they're accurate to what we saw in the movie. One of my favorites is this set of tangled lights that we saw wrapped around Leonardo in the movie. It would have been super cool if they actually lit up though. We have the silver bell that Raphael stole from Santa Claus. It is just a little bit too small for him to grip comfortably though. And our first item from the 12 Days of Christmas, this manhole cover. This is definitely a good one you could use all year round in your Dio setups. One of the more unique items is this pizza with pepperoni, which is actually really detailed on the front and back. You get a few different presents that are all really well done. I've tried making little gifts for photos in the past and they never really turned out that great, so I know I'll definitely find a use for these. This one actually uses the same wrapping paper color as the box, which is neat, and if you remember ever getting a gift like this with the white cardboard bottom, you know exactly what's on the inside. Since the 4 turtles all share the same body, all of these different pairs of hands are interchangeable. I'd say you get enough variety without going over the top. But the best part, and really the reason I decided to buy this set, are these 4 Santa hats. As soon as I learned they were removable, I was sold. You get 2 with the palms facing left and 2 facing right. In the days of dwindling accessories with action figures, I definitely think this set has a lot to offer. While you might not be able to use it all year round, there's definitely some cool pieces. All 4 brothers use the same body, so pretty much anything you see on Leo here will apply to all 4 of them. When you pop off the Santa hat, you definitely start to see the similarities between these and the musical Mutagen Tour turtles. I'll show a direct comparison in a little bit, but at first I thought they were a little different. The more I look, I think the sculpt is probably the same. The articulation is pretty standard for a movie turtle, but I will say everything moves really freely. No stickiness or worry that I'm going to break anything. The back shell has a nice look to it. The bandanas are super long, just like in the movie, but my Leo did have a little sticky spot on the back. The belts aren't the most realistic thing NECA has ever done, but I think it's okay for the source material. And this is a new design for the front shell, but I think they could have used a little bit more paint detail on this part. All 4 of mine had little paint blemishes here as well. Of course, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but these shoe and leg warmer combos are pretty ugly. They do look just like they do in the movie, so you can't really complain. Just to show them off, here's a closer look at Michelangelo, Raphael, and Donatello, whose bandana is almost as pink as that tongue inside his mouth. And speaking of mouths, you know it's time to do a comparison between these new turtles and the musical Mutagen Tour. Like I mentioned earlier, I thought that these new ones might have been a new sculpt just with a similar mold. But upon further inspection and actually thinking about the likelihood of that, I can pretty safely say these are almost exactly the same. Of course, they use different pads, belts, the front shell's different, and the back bandana. And they also seem to change the paint scheme on the inside of the mouth, which is kind of weird. But for these being such one-off novelty figures, I think sharing so many parts is okay. I was really hoping they would update the shoe design, and you'll see why here in a second. I remember when I got these musical mutagen tour turtles, I really couldn't get them to fit on the stands. They just kind of balance on top of the peg, so it really doesn't help at all. And unfortunately, I've got to say the new Christmas turtles are actually fitting even worse. They stand up okay on their own, though, so that's one thing. If you're curious how it stacks up against some other movie lines, here he is next to the NECA Leo from the original movie. And here it is next to a Secret of the Ooze Leonardo, whose head actually looks kind of small in this comparison. But here's the moment I know I've really been waiting for. I'm going to find out if this Santa hat can fit on any other kinds of turtles. And first up is this Movie 1 Leonardo. It's definitely not meant to fit on this small of a head, but it does have a few different options. You have the classic Bah Humbug Leo, followed by Rule Follower Leo that's trying his best not to peek under the Christmas tree. Not a perfect fit, but I could see some people having some fun with this line. I wish I could say the same for Secret of the Ooze, but unfortunately their heads are just a little bit too tiny. If you position them just right from the front, they look okay, just don't turn them to the side. As expected, the musical mutagen tour turtles work pretty well. You do have to take that microphone into consideration though, but it still works. Now this one to me is the make or break. If it works on the tune line, then these are definitely worth the money and more. And just look at these. Just look at them. I literally have no notes. Just for fun, here's what it looks like on the brand new Cartoon Slash, weak limbs and all. Someone find this guy a plate of cookies. He's definitely ready to meet Santa. Now, Ninja Turtles are one thing, but there are more action figures out there, really, I promise. And would you look at old Earl Sinclair? This thing was made for this guy. And one more, just because we wouldn't still have the Simpsons hanging around if it wasn't for that first Christmas special. A little bit too big, but still looking good. If we ever got this team in real life, it might be the best Christmas party ever. So in the end, if you like Santa hats, Christmas presents, and creepy turtle faces, this is definitely the set for you. Drop me a like and follow and comment if you enjoyed it, and happy holidays, everyone.